Hey YouTube, welcome back to the garage renovation series. In this episode we are going to be insulating this garage. And so you can see here it's pretty bare, just 2x4s in the walls. Overall this project was very easy. I think as long as you know how to operate a staple gun, and we just used a manual staple gun, you could do this at home. We were definitely very slow to begin with, but as we progressed we were able to knock out a whole wall in a day. But for this first wall it definitely took us some time to get used to the technique. As we progressed we found that measuring the cavity before we put the insulation up and cutting it on the floor seemed to work a lot better. So I would recommend that first and foremost, cutting the pieces on the floor before you try and put it up and then cut it to fit. That just seemed to work out better for us. So there's really two techniques that we found online for insulating around the electrical wires. One is where you take and use your razor blade and cut horizontally where the wires would go, and the wires just kind of fit in your cut. The other is splitting the insulation in half and tucking in the one half of the insulation behind the wire and then folding the other insulation on top. We found that second way to be much more effective and cleaner. So I started to slow the video down here. Hopefully you can see where I'm splitting the insulation in half and pulling the one half behind the wire and then letting the other half fold right on top of it. That was a lot easier and cleaner to do. I would also recommend wearing long sleeves, pants, gloves, even a mask and eye protection, because this stuff is very itchy and it can hurt whenever it gets on or into your hands. So now we're going to start working on insulating the ceiling. So I had a bunch of 2x4 insulation and I'm going to use it. So I'm working kind of on a budget. So I just used the 2x4 insulation on the ceiling. Now the ceiling rafters are 22 inches wide. So that did cause me to cut one roll of insulation in half and also put that in the same cavity. So again, I'm on a budget, so I didn't want to spend a bunch of extra money buying 22 inch on center insulation, so I used everything that I had, and I had just enough. So not ideal, but it's going to be sufficient for me. And here it is, all said and done. Everything, in my opinion, came out great. We spent a lot of time making sure the outlets were cut correctly. You can see the ceiling looks pretty good for what it is. We used a lot of tape and other things to get the insulation to look that nice and stay up. If I was to do it again, I would make sure that I staple the sides of the insulation to the inside of the joist, because right now I'm covering the joists, so I'm not able to use a glue for the drywall that's going to go up. So I would just note that. But otherwise it came out great. And I can definitely tell a difference already without any drywall, how long it takes to heat the garage and how long it stays heated. So it'll be interesting to see in the summer how long it takes to cool down the garage and keep it cool. You can see that AC unit there I installed, so I'll be interested to see how it works and how bearable it is going to be out there during the middle of the summer. So you can see the drywall laying there over the side, so that's going to be an upcoming video. But otherwise, that's really all I had for this video. Pretty simple installation. You can definitely do it yourself, and I will see you in the next one.